This is an example of a cheap or bad transition. And this is an example of a seamless or good transition. In reality, your transition or your edit starts before you actually begin to edit. It starts when you shoot the footage that you'll use for the edit. So let's take a look at how the directional movement behaves. In the bad example, we can see that we start off with some left movement into some right movement, and then into a static shot, and then another right shot here. So the effect feels a little bit random in this example. Looking at the good example here, we can see that the directional movement of the clips support each other and follows the same direction. This way we can let the effects support the motion, which helps with complementing the flow of the clips. So in principle, we want to match the directional movement of our clips, and if that is done, we can consider the two clips to be a match. Okay, good. So moving into Premiere here, I just have some random clips here that I filmed in my room and some of my crusty setup here. Very nice. So step one is to look at how the camera movement is in these clips here. So this one we can see there's some left to right movement, this one the same. Here we have sort of the opposite, there's some right to left movement. Here we have just a static shot, and here we have another left to right movement. So what I would do now is that I would find the parts or the clips where the movement sort of matches, and I will use those as pairs. So this is an obvious pair here. You can see this sort of just jumps straight in to the next one. The next clip here is a little bit weird, so we just move that away. Next one is static, so also doesn't fit. I noticed here there's a little bit of like downward movement right here, and there's also some downward movement here, so we can maybe reuse this clip for the next part here. Great, so now that we have our clips here, we can go ahead and move the others away, or maybe you want to delete them if you don't need them. But if you have a larger project going on, then I would probably just maybe find some other movement parts where you can reuse these clips. Great, so now we want to cut a little bit here because we want to find out where the movement sort of happens the most. So I'll just go ahead and do that right now. And now we can go ahead and start with the edit. So the first thing I want to do is to add a little bit of blur. And we'll do that by going into our project panel over here. I just had to extend this a little bit. You can find this new item here. Little icon, click on that, and then we want an adjustment layer. Just accept the default settings or whatever your sequence is, and drag that in. Yes, so now that we have our adjustment layer here, we can begin to do a little bit of editing. The first thing I want to do is add some blur. So we're just gonna go with the classic Gaussian blur by searching up here in effects and dragging that onto our adjustment layer down here. Then we want to place ourselves right in between the clips where we want our transition to happen. Maybe 25 is a nice value. Keyframe that. Then let's move 5 frames backward. One more keyframe. Change the value to 0. Go back into the middle and then 5 keyframes forward. Keyframe again at 0. Then let's select the keyframes like this. All 3 of them. Right click, ease in. Right click, ease out. Then we want to extend the arrow here, and then we can select one of the outer handles here. We want to drag that in and do the same for the other one as well. So we get this little peak like this. Yep, and that adds a little bit of like blur as we transition in. So now we want to copy this blur effect we just made for all of the places where we want to do the transition. So let's place ourselves at one of the keyframes, cut, then delete that part, and do the same over here, cut, delete. So we only have the part where we actually have our effects on. Then let's go to the next transition, move 5 frames backwards, hold Alt and click to drag it over. This should copy the effect. And let's do the same here. Like that. Looking good. So yeah, now we're pretty much done. Another thing you can do to make it a little bit cooler is to do speed ramping. And speed ramping can be done in Premiere quite easily. If you go to this little effects tab here on your clip, right click on that, and then time remapping here, and then click speed, you'll get this white bar here. I usually do my speed ramping in After Effects, but for the sake of this video, I think I can just do it in here. So now we want to find the part where we want to speed up our clip. Maybe let's say it's the ending here. We're gonna go into time remapping, and we're gonna do a keyframe here. Then we can extend the part where we want our ramp to happen, and let's up the last part here to something like 850 or something. Should be fine, like that. So now this part here should be sped up. Like this, we can see there's a lot of movement going on. And then we want to add the ramp. Like this, you can click the keyframe in here, and this little blue guy will pop up. You can change how you want the ramp to look. And this should create a little bit of a speed up effect here. Like that. And we can pair this by doing the same for all of our other clips. It is pretty much the same procedure here. You find the part you want to speed up at the keyframe, extend it out, and then you just drag this up hella high. I think that 800 to 1000 speed works pretty good. Of course, you can play around with this a lot more to fine-tune it. Just for the sake of this video, I think it will do fine. Now I'll just go ahead and do the rest here, and I'll show you the result. So yeah, after playing around for a little while, I think I got to a pretty decent setup here. I basically just have the same setup, just with the ramps done, and I ended up reducing the amount of sound effects to just 2 because, I don't know, it sounds a little bit weird without no music, but if you bring music into this as well, then you can make it look really cool. And I think I've made it pretty nice right now. You can see here. Yeah, so it feels a lot smoother with the camera going the same direction compared to like random movements. And this is what we want to do. So yeah, looking pretty good. Now you also learned how to do speed ramps as well in Premiere, which is kind of nice. These can be really fun if you have some better clips than these, because I don't know, there's just some silly things I filmed really quick. Also, another thing is that you should always plan out like your shoots, so the movement just flows really nice like this. And that's pretty much the difference between a random transition and one that actually feels seamless. The effects can help, but the camera movement is what makes it work in the end. So next time you go to shoot, I hope you will remember this video and think about the edit before you press record, and try to match the direction of motion when you're recording. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you guys in another video.